Good morning. Welcome to Morning Special. 여러분 안녕하세요. 2월 25일 화요일 최수진의 Morning Special입니다. Writing a journal is one of those universal habits that we learn as soon as we grasp the notion of writing. The majority of us would keep one as a school project, but eventually that journal would become our secret keeper, where we would confide the good, bad, and ugly of life. Why did we stop writing? Well, there can be many reasons, but how about now asking ourselves, why not keep writing? 바쁜 일상 때문에 어렸을 때 많이 썼던 일기장, 어느 순간 추억이 되셨을 거예요. 그러나 우리 건강에 아주 큰 힘이 될 수 있다는 거 아세요? 체중 조절, 혈압이나 혈당 관리 등 식사일기가 하나의 해결책이 될 수 있습니다. 내가 무엇을 먹고 얼마나 먹는지 확인하면서 잘못된 식생활을 인지하고 이를 교정할 수 있기 때문인데요. 하루에 섭취했던 모든 음식을 기록하고 이와 동시에 증상 변화를 기록하다 보면 알레르기 유발 식품을 찾는 데도 도움이 되고요. 체중 감량을 목표로 음식의 칼로리만 또 기록할 수도 있습니다. 식사일기는 먹을 것을 그때그때 바로 작성하는 것이 좋고요. 음식을 먹기 전 사진으로 찍어두는 것도 하나의 방법이 될 수 있습니다. 이와 더불어 몇 시에 먹고 얼마나 오래 먹었는지, 누구와 함께 어디서 먹었는지, 공복감 여부 등이 포함되면 좋습니다. Well, if we take time to write down our daily expenses, paying more attention to records related to our health, it shouldn't be that difficult, don't you think? With that in mind, here's our quiz question. When you go for a medical checkup, certain information about you can state your general health. Which of the following is generally not needed for a checkup? 건강검진 할 때 필요하지 않은 것을 골라주시면 되겠습니다. 1번, your weight. 2번, your blood pressure. 3번, your best friend's name. 오늘도 청취자 여러분의 많은 참여 기다리고 있습니다. 퀴즈 정답 보내주신 분들 중에 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 뉴욕타임스 1개월 구독권 보내드리겠습니다. 또 소식과 소감 그리고 방송 중 궁금한 질문 있으시면 보내주세요. 반디 게시판 무료로 이용할 수 있고요. 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045로 보내주시면 되겠습니다. Now let's start the show by greeting the one and only Steve. Good morning.
Good morning. Good rainy morning.
Oh, yeah.
To you. It's raining really hard outside.
You like this weather, don't you?
I do enjoy it, don't I? Yeah, so please do drive carefully this morning. The power of writing. You know, my father, I've said many times, he was a high school vice principal for 34 years. So when I was a student, I always trusted my father's advice on how I should be studying for a test or things like that. And my dad told me that the only way you need to study is to copy your notes. So whatever notes you took in class when you're studying for a big test, you don't need to sit there and try to memorize and things like this. Just copy your notes. And then when you're finished with one copy, do it again. And then when you're finished with that copy, do it again. Why? Because writing is a very slow process. And while you are writing, you're reading, right? But you're reading very slowly. So your percent chance, if you will, of retaining the information is much higher. That's the only way I ever studied. I just copied notes, copied notes, copied notes, copied notes. That's it.
That's a great tip for all of our listeners studying English this morning.
Yeah, exactly.
네, 글쓰기 정말 좋은 공부 방법이죠. 우리 건강에도 이렇게 글쓰기가 정말 좋다고 합니다. They say keeping a health diary is also really great for, checking how your health is.
Your health or your weight or your finances or anything, right? Keeping track of your progress is a good way to know whether you're doing a good job or whether you're not doing enough to achieve your goal. I mean, if you think about it, what is a scale, right? A scale is something that you step on to weigh your body.
Right.
It's kind of a diary.
Oh, yeah.
In a sense, right? Right. Especially if it remembers your weight from the last time you stepped on it.
Exactly. And sometimes people will discover allergies out of nowhere. But if you never record what you eat, or if you don't remember what you ate, then it can take some time for you to figure out exactly what you're allergic to.
Yeah, that's fair. But I would also say that keeping a diary of every single thing that you eat is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Especially if you eat as much as I do.
Oh, and me as well. That will take the fun out of eating, maybe.
What about just a diary in general? Did you keep one or do you keep one now?
I don't keep one now, but I used to when I was younger.
I've never been into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a popular thing. We see it in movies all the time, right? And then don't read my diary, that's private. But
Right.
yeah, I never did it. Even when I was young, I didn't do it.
Well, they have these great apps these days where you can just write down one-line diaries day by day. And they say it really helps to keep you in that sort of well-being mode. You know, because you know what you're doing, you reflect upon your day, and hopefully you're writing good things about the day rather than bad.
Yeah, they have apps for everything these days,
They
huh?
do.
But we're seeing now students bringing their computers or their tablet PCs to class instead of a notebook and a
Yeah.
pen. I don't think it's a good idea.
You don't?
Nope. I think taking a notebook with a pen and making your own
It's
notes
different,
is
isn't it?
Yeah, because you can draw lines and make side notes off to
Yeah.
the side, and that's very difficult to do when you're just tapping on a keyboard.
Exactly. I have a tablet PC, and it does have a function where I can write and scribble and all of that, but it's different.
Yeah.
I much prefer writing on paper.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel the same,
Yeah,
for me at least.
We're old school, huh?
We are.
With all this great studying advice, you'd think I'd be a lot smarter, huh?
Me too, actually. Yes, so as smartless as I am going to try and guide you through some of the COVID-19 preventative measures this morning, as we've been doing. But today we have a revised manual on the preventative measures. 자, 오늘은요, 코로나19 예방 행동 수칙 개정판을 들고 왔습니다. Let's go over them one by one. There's 4 different categories here.
Okie dokie. Number 1, wash your hands thoroughly with soap under running water. Number 2, cover your mouth and nose with your sleeve when you cough or sneeze. Number 3, do not touch your hands, nose, or mouth if you haven't washed your hands. Wear a mask when visiting a medical institution. Number 5 on the list, please refrain from visiting crowded places. And number 6, avoid contact with people with fever and respiratory symptoms such as coughing or a sore throat. Those are just pieces of advice for the general public.
Indeed. 그렇습니다. 지금 스티브 선생님이 안내해 주신 게 일반 국민을 위한 코로나19 예방 행동 수칙입니다. We're also going to briefly go over what you should do if you're a high-risk group patient, or a high-risk group rather, and suspected patients, as well as residents in areas with reported COVID confirmed cases.
Right. So for high-risk groups, and that would include pregnant women or those aged 65 or older, chronically ill patients suffering from diabetes, cardiovascular conditions, chronic respiratory conditions. Under that category, it would include asthma or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, renal failure, cancer patients. The list goes on. Here's the advice. Number 1, don't go to crowded places. Number 2, if you have to go out or visit a medical institution, wear a mask.
네, 그렇습니다. 고위험군에 대한 안내를 지금 해주셨어요. 많은 사람이 모이는 장소 피해 주시면 되겠습니다. What about for suspected patients showing symptoms?
That would include people with a fever or respiratory symptoms such as coughing or a sore throat. And the advice is, number 1, avoid going to work or school and refrain from going outside. Number 2, rest at home without going outside and watch the development of symptoms for 3 to 4 days. Number 3, if you have a high fever of 38 degrees Celsius or higher or symptoms worsen, then A, contact the emergency hotline, that's 1339, or area code +120, or the local health center, or B, visit a designated COVID-19 screening center and get treatment.
Sorry.
Yeah, just one more on the list there. Number 4, use your own vehicle and wear a mask when visiting a medical facility.
Bottom line there, stay at home if you do show symptoms. And lastly, for residents of areas with reported cases.
Yes, that's right. Number 1, please refrain from going out or visiting other areas. And number 2, if you are under quarantine, you must follow the instructions of medical personnel and quarantine authorities thoroughly.
네, 그렇습니다. 유증상자의 경우에는요. 등교나 출근을 하지 마시고 외출을 자제해 주시기를 지금 권하고 있고요. 집에서 충분히 휴식을 취하셔야겠습니다. 그리고 한 3, 4일의 경과를 관찰해 주시기 바라겠습니다. 마지막으로 스티브 선생님이 언급해 주신 국내 코로나19 유행 지역에 계신 분들은 마찬가지로 외출과 타 지역 방문을 자제해 주십시오. Well, those were the updated and revised preventative measures to keep in mind.
Also, just one last thing. If you have been overseas recently and you do have to visit your doctor, please make sure that you report your travel history to your doctor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And wear your mask at all times. I went to the ENT yesterday, and initially I tried to go in without a mask. I shouldn't have done that, but they said you must wear a mask. Now they're going to actually stop people from coming into the wards if you're not wearing a mask. So it was in my pocket, so I got it out and I wore it immediately. But everyone, please wear your mask, especially if you're going to an area where there may be other patients.
Absolutely.
All right, with that said, let's start with today's global headlines. 세계 각국 언론사들의 어떤 헤드라인이 올라왔는지 이제 살펴보는 시간입니다. Touch Global Headlines.
China has postponed its annual parliamentary meeting for the first time since 1978 amid the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak.
중국이 코로나19 여파로 최대 정치 행사인 양회를 1978년 개혁 개방 이후 처음으로 연기했습니다.
Italy has canceled several events, including exhibitions and concerts, amid a spike in the number of COVID-19 cases, now surpassing 200.
이탈리아에서 코로나19 확진자 수가 200명을 넘어서면서 급속히 확산하자 전시, 공연, 축제 등이 중단됐습니다.
With the U.S. and Afghanistan close to concluding peace negotiations with the Taliban, Kabul has begun putting together the negotiating team for the intra-Afghan negotiations.
미국과 아프가니스탄 무장 반군 조직 탈레반 간의 평화협정 체결이 가시화되는 가운데 아프간 정부도 탈레반과의 협상을 위한 대표단 구성에 착수했습니다.
Women in Mexico are calling on a national women's strike next month to protest against high levels of gender-based violence.
여성을 대상으로 한 이딴 강력 범죄에 분노한 멕시코 여성들이 내달 대규모 파업을 벌이기로 했습니다. To listen to those headlines again, please visit our website. You can check those free of charge. 무료로 모닝 스페셜 홈페이지에 들어가시면은요, 지금 읽어드린 헤드라인 다시 들으실 수 있습니다. 많은 이용 바랍니다. Let's go over the headlines.
Headline number one today, China has postponed its annual parliamentary meeting for the first time since 1978 amid the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak.
중국이 코로나19 여파로 최대 정치 행사인 양회를 1978년 개혁 개방 이후 처음으로 연기했습니다.
So top Communist Party leaders, including President Xi Jinping, attend each year's gathering of the National People's Congress, or the NPC, and it rubber stamps bills and budgets and personnel moves already decided by the party. But nowadays, many top officials who would normally attend the meeting are consumed with tackling the virus in their home regions, making them too busy, of course. And also, Beijing has imposed quarantine measures on those arriving to Beijing from other parts of China. And that would be a huge challenge for this gathering because normally about 3,000 delegates get together for this. So that would create a headache to organize as well. One more thing there, holding the event, they say, would have meant a bad look, if you will, or bad optics with China's leaders arriving in face masks, which they would have to do for a meeting that is a highly staged event, and it's meant to present the image of a communist party that is in perfect control of the country.
네, 그렇습니다. 이 양회라는 것은 중국의 전국인민대표대회 그리고 전국인민정치협상회의 이 두 가지 회의를 말하는데요. 보통 수천 명이 베이징으로 모여서 한 2주간 머물러서 각각의 회의에 참석한다고 합니다. 이번에는 이렇게 연기가 됐고요. 중국에서 78년 이후 처음으로 연기된 상황입니다.
So this event usually lasts about 10 days, and the Standing Committee of the NPC, they will decide on a new date for the meeting at a later time, that according to state broadcaster CCTV. China on Monday, they announced that they had allocated about $14.16 billion. That's about 17.2 trillion won, or 99.5 billion yuan, for the curb of the outbreak. So they're spending a lot of money to try to get it under control.
So far, the overall count of confirmed cases in China stands at around 77,000. The number of deaths in China, 2,500 or so. And here in Korea, actually, the National Assembly has been temporarily postponed as well. But let's look at the overall situation here, some figures.
In Korea, the Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that the total number of infections in the country came to 833. Earlier in the day, yesterday, I think 161 cases were announced. The death toll stands now at 8 people. That was as of Monday evening, so yesterday evening. And now a total of 31,923 other people have been checked for the virus so far, and 20,292 of them are awaiting results. In terms of people who have been released, the number now stands at 22.
네, 그렇습니다. 우리나라 코로나19 지금 확진자 수는요 833명이고요. 사망자는 8명까지 올랐습니다. 퇴원한 환자의 수는 22명입니다. Yes, we'll have to keep a close watch on this situation here.
Lots of other things closed as well. Public museums are temporarily closed down. Also, major theaters are looking at different measures that they can take. The National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art closed down its Gwacheon and Cheongju branches Monday, and also its largest building, the Seoul branch, on Tuesday. It will be closed. That's today, right? The National Library of Korea announced its closure on Monday. The Seoul Art Center announced on Monday that it will temporarily halt performances as well.
Right. They say if the spike continues at the current rate, as it did yesterday, we could be seeing over 1,000 confirmed cases within the day today. Hopefully that will not be the case, but we will have to keep a close watch on that. Staying with the COVID-19, but moving over to Italy, let's look at headline number 2.
Italy has canceled several events, including exhibitions and concerts, amid a spike in the number of COVID-19 cases, now surpassing 200.
이탈리아에서 코로나19 확진자 수가 200명을 넘어서면서 급속히 확산하자 전시, 공연, 축제 등이 중단됐습니다.
Italy has now reported at least 219 cases, according to this article, and at least 10 towns in the north of the country were put on lockdown following a cluster of COVID-19 cases. Many of the new cases represented the first infections in Italy acquired through secondary contagion. Italian authorities have also confirmed 5 deaths from the virus. That is the biggest cluster of infections in Italy in any country outside of Asia.
There were some fashion events lined up for the coming days or weeks. That's all been cancelled?
Yeah, that's right. Schools and universities will be closed for at least a week in many parts of the country. And yeah, the Milan Fashion Week has also been affected by the outbreak. Giorgio Armani, everybody knows that brand, right? He had a show that was scheduled for 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, but announced on Saturday night that guests should not come to the venue. Instead, what they did was the collection would be shown to an empty room.
네, 그렇습니다. 이탈리아에서도 일부 지역에서 우리나라와 비슷하게 개학이 연기가 됐군요. 한 일주일 정도. 그리고 밀라노 패션 위크도 지금 현재는 연기가 된 상황입니다. 그 외에도 뭐 알마니 패션 쇼 등도 지금 취소가 된 상황이고요.
Italian authorities are doing everything they can. If you are caught entering or leaving an outbreak area, you could be facing a big fine. About 50,000 residents, they say, in the towns under lockdown have been told to stay home and avoid social contact. And like I said, schools and shops and businesses have been closed, and festivities and sporting events canceled as well.
Okay. Moving on, let's check our next headline.
Headline number 3 today, with the U.S. and Afghanistan close to concluding peace negotiations with the Taliban, Kabul has begun putting together the negotiating team for the intra-Afghan negotiations.
미국과 아프가니스탄 무장 반군 조직 탈레반 간의 평화협정 체결이 가시화되는 가운데 아프간 정부도 탈레반과의 협상을 위한 대표단 구성에 착수했습니다.
So this week-long, what they called a reduction in violence pact has been in effect attacked across Afghanistan. And now the Afghan government is saying that they are ready to announce the negotiating team for the intra-Afghan negotiations within the next 2 weeks. U.S. President Donald Trump said that the 7-day partial truce with the Afghan Taliban has been holding up, and it could eventually lead to his signing of a peace deal with the insurgent group. That's scheduled for this week. I believe the 29th is the day for that. Trump's remarks, what he said, came a day after the reduction in violence truce took effect on Saturday in the country, in Afghanistan. The U.S., the Taliban, and Afghan forces, they agreed not to launch offensive operations for a week.
네, 그렇습니다. 29일 정도에 미국과 탈레반이 평화협정에 서명을 할 예정인데요. 그동안에는 아프간 정부는 이 평화협정 과정에서 배제가 됐습니다. 그러나 지금 업데이트된 소식 전해드리고 있죠. 이제 탈레반과 협상을 위한 대표단 구성에 아프간 정부도 착수를 했다는 소식이고요. 2주 내에 발표단을 발표할 것이다. 이렇게 얘기를 하고 있습니다. 그 폭력 감축 조치, 영어로는 reduction in violence, 이 조치가 시작된 셈입니다.
Yeah, President Trump, I mean, I guess we should say it's not set in stone because this is what President Trump said. I want to see how this period of a week works out. Things have been holding up well, but he said if it works out over the next less than a week, I would put my name on it. Yes, it's time to come home. And they, meaning the Taliban, want to stop. I think the Taliban wants to make a deal too. They're tired of fighting.
네, 탈레반은요, 2001년 9.11 테러 이후에는 그 정권을 잃은 상태인데 이제 앞으로 어떤 평화 협정이 서명이 이뤄질지 좀 지켜봐야겠습니다. Okay, let's go on to our final headline.
Headline number 4 this morning, women in Mexico are calling on a national women's strike next month to protest against high levels of gender-based violence.
여성을 대상으로 한 이딴 강력 범죄에 분노한 멕시코 여성들이 내달 대규모 파업을 벌이기로 했습니다.
Support is really growing for a national women's strike on International Women's Day. That falls on the 9th of March, and this is to protest against high levels of gender-based violence. There have been some hashtags that have been circulating in Mexico. One was National Women's Day, and these are translated from Spanish, by the way.
Okay.
Hashtag National Women's Day, hashtag A Day Without Us, and hashtag A Day Without Women. Women and feminist groups, they have taken to social media in recent days to encourage women all across the country to skip work and to skip school on the second Monday of March, that would be March 9th, in order to send the clear message against gender-based violence.
Some politicians in Mexico have actually said, we will take part as well.
You're right. President Lopez Obrador, he's been criticized for his response to this crisis, but it did find support from members of the federal government, as well as opposition political parties as well. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, state governors, and universities, among others. A couple of examples of that. Interior Minister Olga Sanchez Cordero said on Twitter that she would join the strike. The head of the government's financial intelligence unit, Santiago Nieto, said that women who work at the department, they are free to participate. And also the president of the Senate, ruling party Senator Monica Fernandez, said that the upper house would support it and that women who work there are free to join.
네, 그렇습니다. 다음 달 3월 9일에 멕시코에서는요, 여성 없는 하루라는 어떤 부제에 여성들의 총파업이 이뤄질 전망입니다. 정치인들도 동참을 하겠다 이런 의사를 밝혔고요. 심지어 멕시코 대통령이 공무원들이 이번 파업에 참여해도 징계를 하지 않겠다 이렇게 밝혔습니다.
One last interesting note about that is that they have been posting flyers online urging women to stop spending money on that particular day, March 9th, to maximize the economic impact of the strike. And calculations were completed by a local newspaper. And if they were able to follow through with this, this would be the equivalent of about 1.9 billion US dollars.
와우, 그렇군요. 3월 9일 이날 하루에는요, 멕시코 여성들이 직장에 안 나가는 것뿐만 아니라 학생들은 학교에 안 나가고요. 그다음에는 외식이라든지 쇼핑 등도 하지 않을 예정이라고 합니다. Well, those were our headlines for this morning. Let's remind our listeners of the quiz.
When you go for a medical checkup, certain information about you can state your general health. Which of the following is generally not needed for a checkup? Is it number 1, your weight, number 2, your blood pressure, or number 3, your best friend's name.
네, 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045로 보내주시고요. 반디 게시판 이용도 무료로 가능합니다. 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 보내드리겠습니다. We'll be right back after Leona Lewis sings our first song of the day. 오늘의 첫 곡 들려드릴게요. A Moment Like This. Wow, what a lovely ballad version of the Kelly Clarkson song.
Perfect for a rainy Tuesday morning,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you're stuck in traffic, which you probably are, then it's a nice song to listen to.
자, 여러분의 사연 살펴보겠습니다. 0314님이요. Good morning, 수진쌤, 스티브쌤, 모닝스페셜 제작진 여러분. 비가 제법 내리는군요. 오늘도 모닝스페셜과 안전히 함께합니다. This is exactly what you just said. In the car, it's raining, but I'm going to be safe.
Yeah,
Please do.
Exactly.
자, 정우진 님이요. Good morning, 스티브쌤, 수진쌤. 이렇게 보내주셨는데요. 매일 아침 잘 듣고 있어요. 근데 코로나 때문에 초등학교 입학식이 미뤄졌어요. The elementary school the start of the term has been pushed back. Yeah, it has.
A lot of my friends are teachers, and they are having to go to work. They are at the office. Some of them, they don't have any students, but they are there for their office hours. Others have an extremely reduced amount of students in the classroom because the parents have been given the option of whether to send their children or not. So yeah, it's really, I mean, we talked about that expression, long-reaching, right?
Yeah,
far-reaching. Yeah, this is one of the effects.
It really is. 네, 오늘도 모두 고생이 많으십니다. 초등학교 입학식이 이뤄진 정우진님은 부모님이신가요? 아니면 초등학생이신가요? 궁금합니다. 자, 7509님이요. 여기는 증평군 비 오는 아침이에요. 수진쌤, 스티브쌤. 맨날 운전하면서 듣느라 문자 잘 못 보냈는데 오늘은 일찍 출근했어요. 모두 코로나 조심하면서 건강하시길 하셨습니다. It's nice to get to work early, so you can send us a text. Thank you for that.
Yeah, get yourself a nice cup of coffee. You know, talking about closures and cancellations, and we gave some examples about museums being closed and the Seoul Art Center and things like that. It's a no-brainer to me. I mean, even schools.
Yeah.
If you think about the long term, if you think about the big picture, in my own personal opinion, it's not bad to shut things down until we know that we're safe, right?
Right, absolutely. Better safe than sorry.
That's what they say.
그리고 최희정 님이요. 우리 가족이 아침마다 다 함께 듣는 모스에게서 제 13번째 생일을 축하받고 싶어요. 13번째 생일 선물 모스가 쏴주세요 하셨는데요.
Why'd you say it like that? What's that mean?
쏴주세요 means, you know, when something is on someone, you say 쏘다.
What do you mean when something's on someone?
So this dinner's on me, this lunch is on me, I'm going to pay for it. But in this case, they said, give me a present. So 쏘다, which is literally shoot, can be used in that sort of way when you give someone something as a gift.
Oh, okay, like shoot me a gift type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
그래서 저희가 노래를 쏴드리도록 하겠습니다. Let's shoot this person a song.
Sure. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, do we have a name? 희정님?
네.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Happy birthday
희정님.
희정.
We got a reverb
Wow.
today.
역시 감독님 센스. 감사합니다.
That was real
너무
노래방.
좋아요. 오, 진짜 리버브 들어가니까 마치 노래를 잘 부르는 것 같은 착각이 드네요. 감사합니다. Thank you all for your messages. Happy birthday if it's your birthday today. And keep sending those in.
Hold on.
Do you have something, Steve?
No.
네, 갑자기 자리에서 일어나셨네. 아, 기타 치실 줄 아세요?
I was just
기타를 들고 오셨네요.
Oh, I should learn how to play Happy Birthday on the guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know today.
Yeah. Just do your best.
But I could. What, it's not just do your best. It's a musical instrument.
All right, fair enough. Okay, we'll keep sending in those messages as well as the quiz answers. And if you have any questions like, Sue, do you know nothing about the guitar? Then that's fine as well. Send those in. We have 5 New York Times 1-month subscriptions waiting for their new owners.
Do you know I own 3 guitars?
You do? Then you do know how to play the guitar.
No, I don't. That's the thing.
Why do you have 3 guitars if
I
you don't know how
like
to
them.
play?
I really like guitars, so I just keep
Are they
buying
just
them.
for show?
Yeah, kind of. I guess they're on display in my living room. But
관상용 기타가 3개 있답니다.
that could be my new mission. I don't know how long it's going to take, but one of these days
Yeah.
I will play Happy Birthday.
기대할게요. 언젠가는 기타로
1 week, 1 month.
1 year.
Possible. Very, very possible. I've tried to learn so many times, but I have short, fat fingers. And when you have...
Do you?
Look at these little stubby things.
Kids
I'm
can
like a
play
ba-
the guitar, but to be fair, I can't play it. But
Yeah, I'm like a bear cub. So I've tried like 3, 4, 5 times to learn. I've taken lessons,
yeah.
but I just get
It
frustrated
hurts as well when you first play.
in the very
You get
beginning. Yeah.
blisters.
But I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go.
All right.
Oh, that's a good expression.
네, 그렇습니다. So now we will go to our news focus stories, but keep those messages coming in. 자, 그러면 첫 번째 news focus 살펴보겠습니다. 신종 코로나 바이러스 감염증, 즉 코로나19가 세계 각국으로 확산하는 가운데 아시아 이외의 지역에서 사하라 사막 이남의 아프리카가 가장 큰 타격을 받을 것이라는 관측이 나오고 있는데요. Let's listen to the story.
Even without a single confirmed case, sub-Saharan Africa may be the region hardest hit outside of Asia by the spread of the coronavirus. A slowdown in the number 2 economy and a 5% dip in oil prices over 1 year could mean $4 billion lost in export revenue for sub-Saharan Africa, more than any other continent outside of Asia, according to a study by the Overseas Development Institute. According to one Beijing-based consultancy firm, this will have an impact on other African countries who are trying to export more goods to China. Examples of what would be affected by a slowdown in China's food and beverage sector include Namibian beef, Rwandan coffee, Kenyan avocados, and South African citrus.
사하라 사막 이남의 아프리카에서는 아직 코로나 감염 환자가 한 명도 없다고 합니다. 그렇지만 경제적인 타격이 굉장히 클 거다. 이렇게 전문가들은 보고 있는데요. 그 이유는 바로 아프리카 지역에 있는 석유와 철광석을 중국에서 지금 사실상 수입을 못하고 있기 때문입니다. 중국이 사실 마비가 됐죠. 그렇기 때문에 지금 어떤 아프리카 지역의 자금원이 끊겼다. 이렇게 보면 되겠습니다.
Remember, I brought it up that, Russian crabs were a lot cheaper at supermarkets than they typically were. And we talked about Malaysian durian. I think it was durian from Malaysia we used an example. I read an article yesterday. I think it was Australian rock lobster that was used as the example there. I mean, the effects on China's economy and other countries' economies, when we think about how the world works now economically with import, export, and trade agreements between countries, now everything it seems to be at a standstill.
Yeah.
Nothing is moving these days, right? It's
Exactly.
going to have a big economic impact.
Right. And the African continent we're looking right now, they're experiencing that because China was a huge importer of a lot of their raw materials. But right now, there's absolutely nothing going on.
Nothing's moving, exactly. And that's what they say, is that sub-Saharan Africa may be the region hardest hit outside of Asia. So let's talk about this. Hit hard. If you are hit hard by something, well, I mean, it could be a physical thing, like in boxing, but we use it in a figurative sense for a big negative effect. So it could be emotional, it could be financial, it could be weather, for example. I'll give you a weather example. If we got a storm here in Seoul and the weather was really bad, you could say Seoul got hit hard by the storm. But Incheon was the hardest hit. So it's a comparative adjective, isn't it, right?
맞아요. 가장 큰 타격을 받았다라고 했을 때 hardest hit라는 표현을 쓸 수 있겠습니다. 지금 아프리카 지역 중에서도 이제 사하라 사막 이남의 지역이에요. 영어로는 Sub-Saharan Africa라고 하는데 여기서 그 자금원이 그 수요가 급감했다 이런 소식입니다.
Another example, financial, right? You could say, well, I think the financial example would be in the context of the article, right? Let's give an emotional example. Let's say that you break up with your girlfriend and your mom really, really loved your girlfriend, right? So yeah, you were upset by the breakup. So you could say the breakup hit me hard, but my mom, oh my goodness, she was the hardest hit.
그렇습니다. 심정적으로도 타격을 받을 때 쓸 수 있는 표현이 되겠습니다. Dip, of course, here is that sort of drop.
Exactly. And the slowdown in the economy, and they could experience a 5% dip in oil prices. A dip is a small reduction in something. So we use this most commonly with prices and temperatures. So if the temperature today was 10 degrees, and then tomorrow it's 8 degrees, then you could say temperatures dipped overnight, or temperatures dipped from day to day. A small reduction, not a massive reduction. If it was 25 degrees one day and then 1 degree the following day, we wouldn't say price or the temperatures dipped.
네, 명사로서 감소, 동사로서는 감소하다라는 뜻으로 dip를 쓰시면 되겠습니다. 다시 한번 말씀을 드리지만 아프리카의 석유와 철광석 수요가 중국이 지금 마비 상태라서 급감했다는 소식입니다. Let's go on to our second news focus story. 두 번째 뉴스 포커스 살펴볼게요. 미국의 제재와 베네수엘라 위기 등으로 쿠바의 경제난이 심해지면서 쿠바는 지난해 오스트리아, 벨기에, 영국, 프랑스, 일본, 스페인 등 6개국에 갚기로 돼 있던 빚을 제대로 상환하지 못했다고 AFP 통신이 보도했는데요. Let's listen to the story.
As Cuba has struggled under the weight of U.S. sanctions, it has also been struggling to pay its debts, raising serious concern among its partners. Cuba has faced a hardening of the 58-year-old U.S. embargo since Donald Trump arrived in the White House, with laws penalizing foreign companies, pressuring banks, and limiting visits by Americans. The influx of tourists declined by 9.3% last year, while its income-producing deployment of physicians abroad suffered as 9,000 of them returned home amid diplomatic spats, notably with Brazil, with which Cuba fell into default in mid-2018.
네, 쿠바의 부총리는 이제 5월까지 밀린 빚을 갚겠다 이렇게 약속을 하기는 했지만 지금 해당 국가들은요 작년에도 이렇게 채무 미상환 그런 상황으로 작년을 마무리했는데 어떤 잘못된 선례가 계속 이어지지 않을까 우려를 하고 있다고 합니다. Cuba is saying, give us a few more months. But it's been saying that for a while.
Yes, exactly. And an interesting side note to this story, and I learned about this recently. You know, Cuba's had some debt with some countries for a long time, and I thought this was fascinating. Back in 2016, and they have debt with the Czech Republic, right? $390 million debt. So back in 2016, Cuba offered to pay their debt with the Czech Republic with money? No. What's famous in Cuba? An alcoholic beverage.
Rum?
Rum. They offered to pay their debt with the Czech Republic, $390 million worth of rum. Czech Republic actually considered it at the time, but then decided to turn it down.
그렇군요. 2016년 당시에도 빚에 허덕이던 쿠바가 그때는 이제 체크 공화국의 럼주로 우리가 빚을 갚아도 되겠느냐라고 했는데 그 당시에 정말 심각하게 고려를 했지만 무산이 됐다고 하네요.
Yeah, so this is very concerning to Cuba's partners, wondering whether they will get paid their money or not, I guess, because Cuba has been struggling to pay its debts. And when you are struggling with something, S-T-R-U-G-G-L-E, to struggle, it means you're having a difficult time doing something. It could be a physical thing. If you are trying to pick up something extremely heavy, right? And you, geez, okay, I'll try again. You can hear it.
Yeah,
I'm struggling, right? You're having a hard time with something when you are struggling.
네, 뭐뭐 하느라 고생하다라는 뜻의 struggle to 뭐 아니면 struggle with 이렇게 쓸 수 있습니다.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, you know, when you're hit hard by something, it could be emotional, it could be financial. Same here. You know, I'll use the breakup example again. After the breakup, I was hit hard by the breakup and I've been struggling. Now, what does that mean? Maybe that means that you're having trouble sleeping at night. Maybe you're not eating well these days. Maybe you're not focusing at school or at work. You're having a hard time emotionally, physically, financially even. You could say you're struggling.
네, 마음고생을 하다라는 의미로도 I'm struggling이라는 표현을 쓸 수 있습니다. when you've not had a wink of sleep, you can say, I'm struggling to stay awake.
Yes, exactly. So if you're at the office and you feel like your eyelids weigh 25 kilograms each, then you're struggling to stay awake.
맞아요. 꼬박꼬박 졸 때 일어나 있기가 너무 힘들어 라고 할 때도 I'm struggling to stay awake 라고 할 수 있습니다.
Yeah, that's right. And they've seen a decline in the number of tourists in Cuba as well. The influx of tourists, I suppose, has disappeared. An influx, I-N-F-L-U-X, an influx is the arrival of a large group of people or things. And a sentence example would be Korea saw an influx of expats in the early 2000s. I don't know if that time period is right. It's just a sentence example. Or you could say every summer, Korea sees an influx of tourists from China and Japan.
네, 뭔가 많이 밀려들 때 쓰는 표현이 influx가 되겠습니다. Well, those were our first two news-focused stories. We're now going to remind our listeners of the quiz.
When you go for a medical checkup, certain information about you can state your general health. Which of the following is generally not needed for a checkup? Is it number one, your weight, number two, your blood pressure, or number three, your best friend's name?
네, 계속해서 정답 보내주세요. 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 보내드리겠습니다. 자, 이번에는 알리 게이티의 What if I told you that I love you 듣고 와서 마지막 뉴스 포커스 살펴볼게요. 노래 듣고 왔습니다. 자, 그러면 세 번째 뉴스 포커스 살펴볼게요. 쿠바의 경제난이 심해지고 있는 가운데 극심한 정치적 혼란과 경제난이 지속되고 있죠. 베네수엘라에서는요. 국민의 3분의 1이 최소한의 영양 섭취 권장량도 충족하지 못하고 있다는 UN 세계 식량 계획의 조사 결과가 나왔습니다. Let's listen to the story.
One of every three people in Venezuela is struggling to put enough food on the table to meet minimum nutrition requirements as the nation's severe economic contraction and political upheaval persists. A nationwide survey based on data from 8,375 questionnaires reveals a startling picture of the large number of Venezuelans living on a diet consisting largely of tubers and beans as hyperinflation renders many salaries worthless. A total of 9.3 million people, roughly 1/3 of the population, are moderately or severely food insecure. Food insecurity is defined as an individual being unable to meet basic dietary needs.
네, 이 기사에서 나온 핵심 표현 중에 하나가 food insecurity, 반대말은 food security가 되겠죠. 식량 안보라는 뜻인데요. food security는 넓은 뜻으로는 그 나라 국민에게 충분한 양과 양질의 음식, 식량을 필요한 때 그리고 장소에 공급할 수 있는 그런 상태를 말합니다.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
근데 그런 상태가 아니기 때문에 이제 food insecurity라는 표현이 여기서 쓰인 거고요. 실제로 이 식량 안보 평가 보고서에 따르면은 응답자 10명 중에 7명은 음식이 주변에 있기는 하지만 가격이 높아서 구입하기 어렵다. 이렇게 대답을 했고요. 응답자의 37%는 직장도 잃었다. 음식이 지금 뭐 구하는 것은 뭐 물론이거니와 굉장히 요즘에 지내기 힘들다 이렇게 얘기를 했다고 합니다. Lots of stats that I'm looking at here, but basically a lot of people are not able to get the food that they were able to before because of the current situation.
Not just a lot of people, 1/3 of the population.
Wow.
It's shocking, isn't it?
It is.
It's shocking and it's startling. So if something startles you, then it means that it's very surprising, right? Usually it's used in a negative context, and usually it's used when someone suddenly appears, right? So if you come out of your bathroom in your home and you open the door and your child or your partner is standing like right in front, how would you feel? Like, oh,
Startled.
Yes, that's startling. But information can be startling. Statistics can be startling as well. And it simply means shocking.
네, 그렇습니다. 충격적이다, 깜짝 놀랄 만하다라는 뜻의 startling이 여기서 쓰였습니다.
Yeah, and the reason this is so startling is because this large number of Venezuelans are living on a diet consisting of tubers and beans. Tubers, I think, means things like potatoes, things that grow roots underground. Living on a diet. So to live on means to survive. And we use this expression when we're talking about food and money, I think. If you say, I've been eating really unhealthy foods these days, I've been living on ramen and tteokbokki. And that means you've been surviving on tteokbokki. Or if we're talking about money, then you say, I try not to spend too much these days. I've been living on man-won per day. Surviving on man-won per day.
뭐뭐로 겨우 살아가다라는 뜻의 live on 뭐뭐뭐인데요. 여기서 지금 보면은 베네수엘라에서는요, 실제로 상당수의 국민들이 감자나 토란 같은 덩이줄기 그리고 콩류에 의존해서 식사를 하고 있다고 합니다. 3분의 1이 기초 영양도 섭취를 못한다는 WFP의 보고서 내용이었습니다. Let's check the answer to the quiz now.
The quiz question today, when you go for a medical checkup, certain information about you can state your general health. Which of the following is generally not needed for a checkup? Is it number 1, your weight? No, I think they need that, right? Number 2, your blood pressure. I think that's pretty normal too. Number 3, your best friend's name. I don't think that's required. I think the answer is number 3.
I think so too. 3번이 정답입니다. 허현주님, 오유찬님, 박헌양님, 0806님, 그리고 3172님 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 보내드리겠습니다. 박양숙님이요. Steve, play the air guitar. 하셨어요.
Well, they do have the World Air Guitar Championships, don't
Really?
they? Yeah, have you never seen that? It's interesting. It's
I'm playing it right now.
You're not. You're playing the air accordion.
I don't know what I'm playing. How do you play the guitar?
The air guitar? You just pretend like you're playing it. Yeah, they have world championships for that.
Really?
It's quite fun to watch. Yeah.
Okay, what is today's expression?
I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go is a very casual, almost slang way to say I'll try.
해볼게.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, I don't know how to play the guitar, but someday maybe I'll learn to play Happy Birthday for our listeners. Sure, why not? I'll give it a go.
기타 집에 여러 개 있는데 배워볼게. 한번 해볼게. I'll give it a go. 이렇게 얘기를 하셨습니다.
Exactly. And just before we say goodbye, I think I made a mistake when we were talking about hit hard before. I think I used the word adjective to talk about that. I think it's a superlative adverb. But I'm so horrible at
You're
grammar.
the English major.
No, talk to my dad. Talk to my dad about that. I think it's a superlative adverb, but again, I'm not the best person to ask.
That's fine. We'll check that. And thank you so much, Steve.
You're very welcome.
Regardless.
Thank you very much for having me. Please do drive safely in the rain. Be safe, and I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up in hour 2, we have the Power English team with Say What and music with Punita. Taking us there now is Rachel Yamagata. Something in the Rain. 듣고 2부에 돌아오겠습니다.